Welcome to the Mac Roundtable Live. I'm Chuck Joyner, and we're trying something that is completely insane. Let's see, we have seven. Is that it? Seven of us, maybe eighth will join us live from BlogWorld in Las Vegas. We will be putting this out as audio and video. So if you're listening to the audio, you really need to go see the video to see just how crazy this effort is. So let's go around right quick and introduce everyone, because this will be the first time some folks have seen us. Don, we'll start with you.
Okay. Yep. I'm Don McAllister from ScreenCastsOnline.
Allison?
Allison Sheridan from the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com.
You did it. You did it.
John Efron, Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, and I don't do video, Chuck. So.
You are now, John. I'm Chuck Joyner, the MacVoices group.
I'm Dave Hamilton from the Mac Observer's Mac Geek Gab, where we don't do video.
I'm Victor Cajiao from the Typical Mac User Podcast, and yeah, you know why I don't do video.
I'm David Sparks from MacSparky.com and the Mac Power Users, and I don't do video either.
Does that explain why you guys aren't wearing pants? I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is that
Fine.
Fact,
Give us
I don't know.
away.
Is that in frame? The no pants rule? Is that in frame? Who knows? Okay, guys, this is going to be sort of interesting because it's tough enough to do audio, let alone video, let alone crouched in so we're all in frame. But I think the biggest story of the week, really, has been Don McAllister's appearance on Callie Lewis's show.
Totally. Oh, dude.
Don, you want to explain this because we will have a link in the show notes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll hold you from it. Well, Callie and Neil. Oh,
There's the eighth guest to the show.
we'll just let that go past and then.
Edit point.
We can have, I think we'll have an edit point at this point. Yeah. An edit point, I think, at this point. Yeah.
Sure, maybe. We'll see. Chuck will decide.
Yeah, it's maybe better just to show it one.
It's got to be another keynote announcement, right?
It will be now in room S227 in the meeting room area. It starts at...
This is terrible timing. You should have known that this was going to come on. Yeah, so.
And you set this up, didn't you? Just as soon as I introduced you, right?
That does turn every hour on the
Yeah, compose my thoughts. Yeah.
Stand in front of it.
Sorry. Oh no, we've got to go back in. See?
Doing the inaugural address, this guy.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Once again, 2009.
No, but thanks very much, folks. That's all the time we have. Good night.
Anyway, as I was saying, right, okay, no, Callie and Neil from Geek Brief were kind enough to invite me to an interview here at BlogWorld, and they were scouting around for locations. I don't think they could find one, so they decided to actually do it in their hotel room. So I got an invitation to visit them in their hotel room, and much to my surprise, delight, surprise, or one. Anyway, they wanted to do an on-the-bed interview with me in a horizontal position, so on video, and that's now been published to the interwebs. And I've taken a lot of stick from my colleagues, and I'm expecting to see a mashup of the of the video once it's finished. Well, thank you very much. But they were so kind to invite me on. I was really pleased, and it was a great interview as well. So if you check it out, I hope you enjoy it.
Okay,
anyway.
Don, I have one question. Have you told your wife yet about this?
Well, she doesn't follow me on Twitter, but my son does. But I did speak to her this morning, and she didn't mention it, so I don't think the words got through yet. But
Have you decided how you're going to tell her about it?
Money, right?
2
Okay.
years ago, I had a short version of this when they were doing body painting at a party that I was sitting right in front of. And so they're body painting the naked women right behind me. And somebody said, this is already on Flickr. So I made that phone call at 10 o'clock at night and said, honey, really, I was just attending the party.
But anyway, that's it's a nice thing to put on my CV anyway, so that's great.
It was a great interview. It was the setting that made it just so funny. And so now for a quick analysis of that setting, and we'll make it 30 seconds or less, Allison Sheridan.
He's got to put time limits on me. So the best part was, well, you see how Don is standing right now with his arms completely folded. I think it tightened into almost this little curl to try to stay away from her. She's kind of leaning forward. She's got her hand under the pillow, and Don looks like, it was beautiful. You really have to see his body language to appreciate it. Fantastic interview.
Yeah,
he did great. He sounded completely normal. He just looked terrifying.
Okay, let's see. The other thing I got to say about the video, make sure you watch to the very end. Watch for the hand clap.
Yeah.
You got to watch for that. You got to watch for that. David, you just got in late last night, so you're just here, and I know you haven't even been on the show floor, but at least you got to a keynote.
Yes, I did. I went to the celebrity keynote this morning to watch all the movie stars talk about how they use Twitter or going to use Twitter. It was kind of interesting. I'm having a good time. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to getting on the show floor.
Good. Well, it's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could join us.
Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And Victor, you did a session yesterday that was very good on distributed audio production. Good job.
It was a lot of fun. All of you attended. Thank you very much for that. And George and I had a great time doing it, and seemed to be well received. A few eyes rolling in the back of people's head. I did catch a few of those, but we had a lot of fun.
And Allison, of course, was doing the audio version of that sort of audio production for podcasting.
Yeah, I actually wanted to say, as much as we all talk to each other, you think that we already know what all of us are going to say, but I learned a ton from Victor and George. I thought you guys did great together, but the thing I didn't know about was MP2. Apparently there's this secret format that Victor never told me about before, or he told me and I wasn't listening, which is probably more likely, that is 1/5 the size of a full WAV or AIFF file, but I get the sense you compress it and then you uncompress it and it's full quality when it gets to the other side.
It is. It's called an intermediate codec. And
so you said it's like an archival format. So
it is considered an archival format.
It's just great. Yep. I go to these things to learn something, and I've learned something from our sessions, not from other people's sessions.
Yeah, and a good props there.
You have the same observation, Dave?
Paul Figiani and Doug Kay, year one of the expo, went through that, but I think all of us were just way too.
They were too
we didn't
deep
know
for
what we were
me.
doing.
I was lost the minute
it was one
he
of those things
started
we gleamed onto and just held onto and used all the time.
Yeah, it's been an interesting show. This is, of course, the first time that BlogWorld and Podcast Expo, arose by any other name, have merged. And there is, simultaneously there's this blending along with this very large, great divide between blogging and podcasting. And I hope that in years to come, that divide is bridged as opposed to severed, and it doesn't just go back to being BlogWorld. And I think they had Leo Laporte do the keynote last night, and I think that was a great thing because that very much brings the podcasting world in. And Leo even said a couple things. He says, there's no real difference. We're all just doing all sorts of media, and it's true. But the sessions that appeal only to podcasters will only appeal to podcasters. I mean, if we're talking about MP2 format, I mean, nobody, if all you do is blog, you really don't care about that. But I think there's an opportunity here to do a little more marketing, especially the exhibit hall too. There's not as much of a crossover from all the exhibitors from the Podcast Expo that I think could do very well here. So it's got potential to go up, and I hope they do it. So
I agree, and it's important to support things like this. I mean, if you're out there and you're interested in what we all do and you want to do it, or you're thinking about doing it, this is a place to come. If you are divisive, if you're indecisive, you're not going to have places to go and learn this stuff. John, could you keep it down?
Give me the mic, man. Weren't you taking the visual cue there? No, I want to chime in with Dave here. I think, this is the first year the shows have been combined. I don't think I'm the only one that thinks maybe the podcasting part got the short, not as much attention. I felt heavy blog emphasis here, not as much especially with the exhibits. Let me know later, David. But I didn't see nearly. I saw a few of the same people, like Shure, for example. They had some really neat stuff, but I didn't see as much of a focus. Not as much that interested me. So along with Dave, it's the first time they've been doing it, and I think they got to get the synergy and the crossover. So go.
Well, I did want to say, this conference is. The exhibit hall is important, but it is a whole lot less about the exhibit hall than it is about the sessions that happen here, and that's an important thing. And Chuck, you and I were talking about this kind of impromptu on the show floor yesterday, and to me, we've got the Pecan Candy Company that nobody's ever heard of, as well as Ford, all exhibiting together on the show floor, and the one thing that tells me is, look, these people are here putting money into this world, into this community, if you will, and it almost doesn't matter what they're doing here, except that they're supporting this and they realize it's important. And it's not just that they're supporting it to make all of our lives easier. They're supporting it to make their lives easier. I mean, it's self-serving as well as saying, look, what you guys have been doing for a long time, we want to be a part of now. And we're willing to come here and show you that. And I think that's a really good thing. So, I don't mean to dismiss what's happening on the show floor. I just think there needs to be more outreach from the organizers here to the rest of the vendors in the podcasting world, because I think they will show up.
The thing I wanted to say though about the sessions, I think the podcasting sessions I've been to have been extremely practical. We went to the Izzy video one where he was talking real good detail about stuff, and we went to one on video podcasting, use what you got, and Victor and George's session was real practical. I hope mine was practical, but every other thing I've been to has been about the philosophy of how do you feel about new media? Does new media
awesome though? You are awesome.
How is thanks.
Just saying.
Do you feel the love, Victor? Let's have a group love. Can we have a group love? The blogging love. Yeah,
are we
that's
awesome?
What it's all about.
What?
I'm so awesome.
I'm awesome.
You're so awesome.
Not that I'm selling anything, but I am awesome.
Seriously, there hasn't been. I haven't heard the word WordPress said out loud since I got here, except when I said it. Right? Did anybody talk about themes or plugins or tools or where to host your blog? Or there's nothing about doing a blog. It's all about how you feel about your blog.
To be fair, I have been to some of the non-podcasting sessions that have been very practical. I went to Paul Colligan's session. The keynotes are this very touchy-feely thing, and a lot of the sessions are this touchy-feely thing. But there are very practical. Like I said, I went to Paul Colligan's yesterday, and we've been making money off of our podcast for years, so that's not a new concept to us, and yet I learned a ton of new things and had my eyes open to a lot of things in that session. It was very practical. Here's what you do. There was an SEO session yesterday, which is very much for bloggers, but applies to all of us, and that was what. To be frank, it wasn't very well done, but there was knowledge to be gained there. Hey, I call it like I see it. So, but yeah, this touchy-feely thing gets a little old. Yeah.
But there's one other, I think, major topic that is covered here, and that's monetization. And there's some people that seem to think monetization is a bad thing. And yet, I'm sorry, but, we all do this out of passion to some extent, but we have to at least cover our costs. And so does everybody else that's doing this kind of thing, including the bloggers. So monetization is not a bad thing. And Don, I want to hand the mic to you, but I want to make sure we also mention you're presenting this afternoon, so we haven't seen what you do, but we know it's going to be great.
It'll be amazing.
Well, I'm doing a session on screencasting, obviously, so
No,
actually, I was going to try. I did actually put forward a few sessions on monetization myself, but they decided to just do the screencasting side, which is fine. But the only comment I would make is that it's very much. It seemed to have roller coasted in the last 2 months. In that the organisation, while we're here, the organisation appears to be really good. They've got great signage, all the organisation is really good, but it's been a struggle to understand what was happening for the last 6 months, and I think that actually put a lot of people off because they didn't get the conference agendas. They didn't really know what it was about up until literally 6 weeks ago. And then suddenly the machines kick into motion, and it's developed. So hopefully over the next 12 months before the next, and I think they're actually going to rename it. It's not going to be called BlogWorld from this point on.
It's going to be called Social Media Business Summit.
Here we go.
Social media. Oh no,
is that
something else?
No, Social Media Summit happened this year too. It happened on Thursday.
Right. Okay.
It's organized by the same people.
Oh, right.
And I think next year it's going to go more than one day. But I don't think it's going to replace. I think they will. Yeah, they've got a brand.
But they've got now 12 months to organise the next one, and I think it will be more integrated, and there'll be more sessions. And they'll take the feedback from what's happened this year, But it's definitely been a last-minute rush, as far as I'm concerned, to get everything organised. But they've done a good job in the short time. So.
As opposed to the elaborate planning we did on this session, where we make sure, a long time in advance we had this thing covered, right?
It's kettle calling.
David, you're standing over there and you're quiet, and again, you haven't had a chance to see a lot of the things we've seen. What's your reaction to what we're responding to? I mean, how do you feel about the monetization and the touchy-feely part? Is that what you're here for, or are you just here to be on the show?
Well, number one, I'm here to see my friends, and number two, I'm here to learn about the technicalities of my blog and my podcast. So I'm here to learn technical stuff. I'm not really that interested in the touchy-feely stuff, to be honest with you. I'm interested to see what kind of vendors we have. I'm kind of disappointed in the reports I'm hearing, but I'm sure I'll learn something today. But I agree with the nuts and bolts kind of stuff, the WordPress. Like I'm considering, do I stay on WordPress or not? And I think that would be interesting to see some sessions and some knowledge about that today. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not interested in the touchy-feely stuff, to be honest with you.
I've actually gotten more off of the show floor in the half hour I've been in there so far than I did last year. I found a site that's got, I think it's called Wetoku, and I apologize if that's not the name of it, something like that. It's a site where you can do a video interview using the website. So it's web-based, and they sync it together for you. I think if there's a time lag, they actually shift it a little bit so that when it produces, you've actually got a clean video discussion going on between two people. There was another site, and I know Cinch. It's a competitor to Audio Boo. They're working with the Blog Talk Radio guys, and they've got you do a recording and you put a photo and a link and that sort of thing if you want. When it goes onto their site, you can put them in albums. So let's say you do 20 Audio Boo type things at BlogWorld Expo. You put them in a BlogWorld Expo folder album, and they're collected that way. And you can choose in the client on the free iPhone app, you can choose whether to push it to Twitter or Facebook or both. And I kind of like the option because sometimes I want to bother Facebook, but a lot of times I just want to bother Twitter. So, I literally spent a half hour in there and I found those two things. So, and I had some really good chocolate at the Half Hour Meals guys. No, if you get a chance, go get some of that chocolate. I don't know what it has to do with Half Hour Meals. It was really, really good.
That's what it has to do.
What, chocolate is a half-hour meal?
No, she said half-hour meals twice, and you and I have each said it once because of the chocolate.
Okay, got it. So they've got their money's worth out of coming.
Absolutely.
Done deal. Yeah.
Good. Guys, one time around the horn, and then we'll wrap it up. Anything in particular you're taking away from this, other than, well, no, scratch that. Just what's your primary takeaway, you think, from BlogWorld 2009? Don?
I think Leo's keynote was quite important because he's sort of pushing the boundaries again of how we distribute media.
What he said, they may not.
Yeah, basically his take is that podcasting is too hard for many people. It's fine for the geeks, it's fine for us sort of early adopters, but the physical mechanics of subscribing to a podcast, and even the word subscribe indicates that it's a paid for service, which it isn't always. But the sheer mechanics of trying to subscribe to a podcast is difficult for most people. And he really wants to see it more as a TV channel that's easily accessible, easily switched on, and not just the standard, the traditional media have this access to broadband and to traditional distribution channels, but also social media and new media as well. But I think he finished off by saying we are now the media, so don't worry too much about the social and new aspects.
I'm really ambivalent about this particular show because one of the things I really try to do when I go to a show is not talk to people I know. I go sit down at a table full of people I don't know and I meet people, but I hardly ever get to see you guys, so we have pretty much, every time there's a break, we all go, and we come together like, hi, what are you doing? But it's been fantastic. I don't regret a minute of it, but with the exception of meeting Stefan Lesage, who's standing right over there, who is a Mac podcaster from Belgium, because of course I only talk to people from Belgium for some reason. I haven't hardly met anybody. I met two great people who work on Braille education for the blind and literacy, and that's it. Those are the only people I've talked to that I didn't know before I walked in here. So I regret that, and yet I had such a great time. I don't know which way to go. Don't do what I do.
Takeaway, I think I want to spend a bit more time doing the exhibits. Again, I'm, maybe just haven't had enough coffee. But no, some observations, though. It was great to meet, the whole crew again. I'm glad, this is the second year now. Actually, Twitter was the thing that caused me, or this show caused me last year to go on Twitter. So it was very useful here. An observation. What weirded me out, though?
It sure feels like it.
What weirded me out is that normally I get aggravated, like when I'm in public places and see everybody on their devices here. But here, it was funny because a lot of us were hanging out and doing it at the same time, and I didn't take it the wrong way because I totally understood the whole mindset. Another takeaway is everything in Vegas is it's much farther away than you think. Oh man, get a monorail pass, and don't try to go to every party or else you're going to be shot. I think we've all learned that through our careers. I think so.
I guess I'm going to leverage a little bit of what Allison said. My takeaway is I have met people. I've tried to make a point. I'm really intrigued by the fact that we do what we do it so well, I think, but we get stagnant. That you come here, you get your horizons expanded, not just by what other people are doing, but by what other people are talking about. I've met a number of people here that are from a more corporate mindset that are clearly clueless about social media, but the fact that they're here and trying to figure it out is really encouraging and really exciting. I've had some great conversations with those people. I'm not sure I figured it out because they've made me look at social media a little differently than even I did when I came here. Because they don't come with any preconceived notions. It's really strange to look at it through their eyes. It's a completely blank slate, but they don't want to be perceived as screwing it up. So this is just the beginning. This is far from the ending or even the middle.
Yeah, to kind of riff on that, we talked about the divide, but it does make sense for this show to have merged with Podcast Expo. I mean, there is a fit. It's absolutely the right thing. It's ridiculous for us to come to Vegas and then go home and then come back to Vegas, a month later, only to see all the same people, and yet we're going to talk about something slightly different, but it's all the same. So yeah, it's all about love and money. That's right, love and money. That's right, and that's Vegas. So there you go. But no. I have actually met a lot of different people, but at the expense of not being able to spend as much time with the Mac crew. So it's a balancing act. And I was thinking this morning, I wish this show could be 5 days long, but don't add anything else to it. Just spread things out, which of course is impossible. Yeah, well, that's how it should be. That's how a trade show should be. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's right that it's still new. We felt 5 years into this, and it still feels like it's growing. But we're seeing big business and corporate and stuff getting into this, and I think it's a real hopeful. And Mikano all-you-can-eat sushi is awesome. I just have to say that. It was worth it.
David, wrap us up.
Oh, I just think it's great to see how much social media is expanding, and now you see all these people showing up from the corporate experience and people who would never have been here before. And I love how people are twittering in every session, and it's becoming such a big thing now, and we're just at the ground level, so it's just great for us to be here and witness it.
Allison, you got to get the last word.
Well, not the final last word, I'm sure, but don't you think they could have called this the Twitter World Expo?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I didn't actually hear much about blogging yet.
No.
Like I said, I heard a lot about Twitter. Every single session had Twitter in
all
it.
about Twitter.
But maybe that's where blogging's gone.
You tweet the link to your blog.
There you go.
Guys, we're going to wrap it up because the show floor and conferences await. So I'm going to just say thank you to Don McAllister, Allison Sheridan, John F. Braun, Dave Hamilton, Dr. Cajiao, David Sparks. I'm Chuck Joyner. This is the Mac Roundtable. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening, and join us again soon. Goodbye from Vegas.
Vegas, you guys are awesome. You're awesome.
I love you.
Awesome.
MacVoicesTV is part of the MacVoices group and a member of Mac Level 10.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay.